Welcome to Bank Shot, where we're bouncing ideas off area leaders to inspire vision and values. I'm Chad Hoffman, and in each episode, we're going to explore how leadership, values, and vision play out in real businesses and communities. At Richwood Bank, our vision is simple: to inspire, protect, and celebrate anything that helps our communities thrive. That's what this podcast is all about, sharing ideas that help leaders like you take your best shot. So I'm very excited today. I have my first official visitor, Lisa Marshall. And Lisa, you've been in the Marysville community for how long?
It'll tell my age, but for all my life.
For all your life.
4 years.
Okay, so I didn't mean to throw you under the bus there, but thank you for sharing. But no, obviously you've been a business person involved for a long time. You work with North Main Motors. You also are the entrepreneur, co-founder, and owner of Ida's Ice, Italian Ice. Mm-hmm. And we're going to go to that in a little bit here on maybe the name and how that came about, because I hear there may be a cute story around that. But before we get started, something that I like to do kind of at tip-off time here for Bank Shot is kind of go through a lightning round, find out a little bit more about you, and ask you a couple of questions and see kind of like where your personality leads. So we're going to start off with work.
I know you and all your personality
so,
tests.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So here's my lightning round.
Okay. Nice.
So, work style. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Night owl.
Oh, night owl. Good.
Yes.
That's actually, I like to do work early. So do you do work early or late, or do you just stay up late?
I do work late.
Okay.
Yes. It's kind of one of those, I know everyone, like the chiropractor, everyone have my head, but I sit in bed, hunkered over some paperwork or a laptop late into the night as my husband falls asleep earlier, because he is more an early bird.
Early bird. Got it. Well, I like to do my work earlier, I guess, but I do entertainment things more at night, whether it's reading a book or watching a movie or something like that. I do have the night owl thing in me as well. But so money, I have to know, cash or card?
Card.
Move to the card. Did that change over time, or?
It did, because my husband would always take the cash out of my purse.
Well, when it's all you've got, that's all you can do. Understood.
No, that's what I would rely on.
Excellent. Well, lifestyle. So do you Netflix binge or do you do an outdoor hike?
Some of both.
Okay.
Yes, it is. I think it's definitely a mix of the two. We probably binge less, but we just got e-bikes. We're feeling that is exercise. I don't care what anyone says to you that I'm considering an exercise, but we hike as well. So
my wife and I went to the e-bike this year as well, and it's mostly because we got to take a trip to Europe last year, and they took us on an e-biking. I'd never been on one before, but they had us going up like hills, like steep hills.
Use the turbo button.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a life changer. So we came home and immediately bought e-bikes, and now we go further and we go do different things, and it's still, like you said, still exercise, but boy, when you need it, it's nice to know that it's there.
Right. Yeah. If I need to cross the road really quick.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Well, thank you. So food. Now, so this is a controversial one, okay?
Okay.
So the hot dog, is it a sandwich or is it not a sandwich?
Oh, it's a sandwich.
Thank you.
It is a sandwich.
I've already had a fight with somebody today over this one. So, okay, it is a sandwich. Yeah. Thank you. Decision making, gut instinct or data driven?
Boy, I think you look at the data, but then you go with your gut.
Okay, I love it. I think that's a very fair way to answer that one. Lifestyle. So are you a night on the town person or a quiet night at home type of person?
Again, boy, I feel like I'm so middle of the road.
If you had to prefer, like if you had the perfect night, what would it be?
Probably at home.
At home?
I think it's changed as I've gotten older and running and busy. I think that at home is just so quality and so cherished.
That's perfect. This is probably the most important of the 10 questions. Star Wars or Star Trek?
None.
Oh.
Am I allowed to say that to you?
We'll move on. It was important, but now it's not so much. Music. Are you country or are you big hair band?
Country.
Okay. All right. Whatever. Seek knowledge. Are you books or podcasts?
You're not going to like me much, but I do a little of both. Yeah. Again, I'm sorry. Boy, I didn't realize don't take a stance. I don't like
commit.
that.
Don't commit.
Yes, I'm going to go out here and change some things, but I would probably say more books.
Excellent. No, I love books. That's where I'm at. So, heroes. Are you in the Marvel camp or the DC camp? And I have the feeling I know what you're going to say.
Am I allowed to say neither?
Yep, I knew that's where you were going to go with that. Okay, Lisa, I
You should have
appreciate
picked
your
your, yeah.
honesty and your non-commitment to several of these items. So we're going to move on. But no, in front of you, Lisa, is a sheet, and it goes through basically the values of Richwood.
Yes.
Okay, and it spells out diamonds, and it's do the right thing, innovate everything, always celebrate success, make a difference in the community, openly communicate, no excuses, drive positive energy, and seek knowledge. And these are the values that we try to lead with. We try to have our team. We're not perfect in all these by any stretch of the imagination, but it's something that we aspire to. Some of them I think we do very well. Some of them I think we do okay, and we're working on some.
Mhm.
So, is there any of them that kind of stick out to you that you would say, "Wow, that's one that I agree with," or that that we live?
Well, I think initially when I thought where the question was going is, I think what I noticed about Richwood Bank is they make a difference in the community. I
Appreciate that.
think I think I do see that, and I would like to think that my family and our businesses would also make that a priority and strive to do that as
It's
well.
funny. The team and I discussed this before you came in today, and we actually thought that's probably the one you would pick. It was kind of funny
Yeah.
because of
There you
the
go.
impact that your family has had on the community and the way that you play. I mean, you certainly have shared and been very, very kind to the community. You've been successful, and giving back is a huge part of it. And I think that's that important part of a business,
Right.
and we can get into that later. But
Mhm.
no, thank you. I think that's a great one. I think you live that as well. So the next thing is we ask each guest as they come in, or we're going to, a book that you like.
Mhm.
And it's I read your response, and it
Mhm.
was kind of cute because you picked The Five Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni,
Mhm.
but you mentioned another one.
I did.
You did.
I did. The most important one.
The most important one, and you said the Bible.
Yes.
And being the book that it is, it's actually a great leadership book as well. I have friends that
Absolutely.
characters from the Bible are actually part of their, when I say characters, people, that
Mhm.
were written about, were part of their leaders, like that's who they follow, that's who they try to live by.
Mhm.
And so I'm going to maybe say something here today and see what you think about it, or what like drives you in leadership, because sometimes people don't see the Bible as a leadership type of book,
Mhm.
but I truly believe it is. But Jesus in the Bible kind of flipped the whole leadership model, right?
Right.
Because most leaders up to that point were conquerors.
Mhm.
These are people that came out and people served them,
Correct.
and he flipped it around and he became the servant, right? He washed his disciples' feet.
Mhm.
He
Was
fed
among
the
them.
poor.
Mhm.
Right. I mean, he gave of himself. He led from behind. However, he put other
Yes.
people out there. But it says, the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. And that comes from Matthew 20:28. And I guess I'd like to ask you what your thoughts are about that, and kind of how you lead, and if that resonates any with how that works. Because Patrick Lencioni wrote another book called The Motive,
Mhm.
where he talked about there's two reasons why people take a leadership role. One of them is kind of as a reward for all their previous work, right? Hey, I've worked hard. I've gotten myself
Right.
up into this
Mhm.
position. I've kind of arrived.
Yes.
I'm kind of done, right? I've hit the finish line. This is the checkered flag. I've reached the leadership role, and now everything should be towards me.
Yeah.
Right? I get to do what I want to. I get to, tell other people what to do. But he says the more valid reason to take leadership is to be the servant, right? To serve others, to make others better than what they are today,
Mhm.
and to continue to lead in that way. And I wondered if you had any thoughts about that, because when you mentioned that book, it's the first thing I thought of is that leadership model.
Yes. No, I very much believe that, and I'm just grateful to have been raised by parents that also I think um, were guided by those principles wholeheartedly. Um, and so, like you said earlier, we're not perfect. So I don't want to put out there that, hey, the Bible's important and I don't do any of that other stuff wrong.
Lisa, that's what this podcast is all about, is we're not perfect. We're
Yes.
looking for answers, right? We're trying to share ideas
Yes.
of, hey, maybe this is how we can do this
Right.
better.
Right. But I definitely feel that, um, just as you said with Jesus, when you are in the trenches, when you're among the people and not sitting up here on a throne of sorts and that kind of thing, we can be humbled to be a part of everything that's going on, whether it's in our business, whether it's in our family, just in the community. When we walk among people, we feel what they're feeling, we see what they're seeing, whether it's the obstacles or the victories, and we get to be a part of that. So I definitely feel it's also something that we learned. I think parents also said it very well too. When you are focused on serving others, when you're focused on doing a lot of all the things that you may think are issues or problems or hurdles, they become less clear. They become blurred. They become something that you don't have to put as much weight on. Your problems aren't so big when you are looking outward and you're
Said.
looking to serve others or to help others.
That's pretty well said. I love that.
So
So a
I
great way to
appreciate.
look at it, and I hope everybody can learn from that. So that would be a key moment there for a
Yeah,
leadership
yeah.
tidbit is
And you said that verse in Matthew, and one that I've held, on to through so many rough patches in life, but also through the good ones too, would be Galatians 6:9. Never tire of doing good, for you'll reap the harvest in due time. And I think that's also about serving others. That when you're trying to do something well, your time will come. It's not in my time, but it will come, and that harvest is just waiting for all of us.
Agreed, and I just think it benefits, and we start right off with do the right thing,
Hmm.
and there's many reasons to do that, right? I mean, a bank, I mean, we need trust. If you don't have trust, you don't have anything, right? And that's most organizations, but especially at a bank. If your customers don't trust you, you're not going to have them.
Hmm.
But it's not just do the right thing for that reason. It's do the right thing because, again, that comes back to you. If you do the right thing by people, they're going to support you, and we've been able to prove that through the years. And I think what you're saying is exactly true. When you're thinking of them first, it's going to show, and you will benefit from that.
Yes.
So it's nice when it can be a win-win situation. Well, Lisa, again, you've been with North Main for a long time. You've had different positions through there. I think right now you're the executive director. Are you still operations manager as well?
Operations manager. I kind of it. This is something that I think every person in our organization feels, whether like it or not. But we have that title, but we also have the what are we doing right now? What is the title of what needs done?
Yep.
So it is hard to give someone a title. So every time someone asks, I'm like, oh, I guess the CEO sounds good, but it may be, I was out a couple weeks ago in the back lot, sweating to pieces, moving the back lot around for the service department. And if that's what needs done, and every person feels that, I know they do because they're pulling a weed or emptying a trash can. So that is the title officially.
Well, no, that's fantastic, and again, that goes all the way back to what we were talking about being the servant, right? And what Lencioni's talking about in the motive is some leaders say, "Hey, that's below me now, right?
Mm.
I don't sweep floors anymore because that's somebody else's job. That's
Right.
not mine." And what you're saying is you do whatever needs done to move everybody forward, and
Yes.
that's fantastic. So, but can you tell me anything more about I guess your values or your vision at North Main? I mean, kind of how you guys live those out.
Again, I go back to Harold and Bonnie Green that started the business 38 years ago.
Mhm.
And I think I don't even know how my dad arrived at it, but the whole where friends buy from friends.
Yep.
I think that being an underlying principle because he really wanted everyone to realize that we are one of you. We're going to see you. We're going to work alongside you, see you in church and all those kind of things. So I think when you do that, when you take that a step further, then even when things don't go well, you're going to see them at the grocery store. And you mentioned, trust with a bank, but I also feel that even I just say as a car dealer, as a used car dealer, that's even one more obstacle,
Oh
I
yeah.
think, for us to overcome. And so just kind of like as the coach's kid has to always maybe be a little bit better, do a little bit more, I think as the car dealer, we need to really kind of overachieve in that area. And so being that person that someone can approach when something isn't right or when something didn't go well is, and have that transparency and that honesty and integrity to us um, is definitely, I think, how we see those values playing out in our business. We need to just do that in every situation, not when it feels good, not when it's comfortable, but absolutely in every situation and every interaction.
I agree. You kind of start behind the eight ball. You're right there with bankers and attorneys, right?
Yes.
Used car salesmen. I mean,
Yes.
not necessarily the greatest reputation in the world, right? They
Right.
they always have that negative connotation, and we kind of have to get over that
Mhm.
right off the bat.
Right.
So,
Right.
no, I think that was perfectly said. But the other thing I want to pursue is you're actually an entrepreneur as well.
Yes, we are. My husband and I, we just completed our eighth season, just closed from our eighth season at Eata's Italian Ice in Marysville. And I'd like to say it comes up with some big, dream and vision that I'd had for years. Well, what happened was uh, we had gone to an Italian ice business in Delaware, Rocky's Italian Ice,
Yep,
for
I
years and
know it.
years. We had a dealership there, so I would always run over on my lunch. Well, then they closed.
Hmm.
They moved on to maybe Marengo or Ashley.
Okay.
So conveniently, we could ride our motorcycles and take nice little trips over. Well, then they closed, or something with that location. And so I said to my husband, "What are we going to do for my Italian ice for my dessert fix?" Because that's me. You love Disney. I love ice cream.
That's awesome.
And so I said, "What are we going to do?" And if you knew my husband very well, he's so laid back. And he said, "Let's just open one for ourselves and make our own." And I said, "Are you serious?" And I think within a month, we were on a trip to Florida to the manufacturer that makes the machines, the batch freezers. And we ordered one and had one, and then started trying to figure out where we were going to start this business. Um, and looked a couple other places. We're almost ready to sign on a dotted line, actually, just right near the Richwood Marysville branch. We were
Okay.
going to sign in that little strip mall. And by the grace of God, that's not what we did, because now when we see what we have,
Oh yeah.
it would not have worked very well. It would have,
Yep.
stifled us. So I did say to my parents, I said, we have this car dealership, as we had combined our other with our current location. And I said, "Do you think that, we could get this, we could utilize this facility?" And my dad's like, "If you can make it happen." And so we did that. And I'm telling you, it just took off. It absolutely took off. It has the parking, has the patio, we have the product. So it was the perfect combination of everything. We went in it, like I said, not the best business plan. I think we had to buy a second double sized machine within the next 2 months,
Oh wow.
because we about tripled the business we thought we were going to do. I would sleep on the floor till 2 or 3 at night while my husband continued to make product. My dad would come in to help refill all the freezers. So it took off, and we are just so grateful for the support of the community. So it's been a good time,
Oh, that's an
and I
incredible
get to eat
story.
it
And
all the time.
it's like you didn't have a full-time job, right? I mean,
Yes, everyone says like, "Oh, you guys must love this," and we said we do, and then we go in at 7 and 8 and and do the other job. But
oh, that's amazing.
I would say it would not be what it is without our staff too. Without, and that's another funny story. And I'm getting on a tangent, but we thought we were going to have these, teachers in the summer, or these grandmothers that want to do this. And what we have is hardworking, incredible students,
Okay.
college kids,
Yep.
some adult staff, but these kids are the face, and they really make the business what it is. They love it, they have fun, and they work really hard.
I say the same thing about the bank. Our frontline, the people, our loan officers, those are the faces, right? Those are
Yes.
the people that the community deals with.
Mhm.
If I do everything right as a CEO, it doesn't matter if it's not being executed at the lines, because that's who's dealing with the public.
Correct.
And you can lose it all or gain it all right there. And
Mhm.
so the amazing experience that they give, whatever that is, your success is
Yes.
depends on their performance.
Right. And I know I was even in the back room at one point, and I heard someone speaking in a different language, and I thought, "What in the world is happening?" And I ran out, and one of the kids at the register had someone that was, spoke Spanish, and they just started taking the orders and explaining the flavors. And I was like, "Who knew? Who knew that was a thing that we needed to have that?"
Oh,
But thank goodness they were there, and
oh, that's incredible.
so it has been a great 8 years.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I just because of that story, I have the Ida's Italian Ice. Where did the name come from?
Yes. Well, as my husband was, saying, "Let's do this," then we got to the picking the names. And my name growing up had been, from my parents' nickname, was Ida, because as Lisa couldn't say her own name as a little girl, she would just refer to herself. And I would constantly say, Ida's ready for night night. Ida's hungry. And so that stuck with me just from my parents. So now, as my husband said, "Well, let's just make this Ida's ice." Now I have everyone in the grocery store. "There's Ida." They're, telling the kids. So I said it's gone from just, my parents signing my gifts at Christmas to
To
Ida,
Ida.
to now seeing children at the ball fields yelling, There's Ida." So it is fun to have taken that from my parents as well, and now I have
That's
a
a really
nickname from the whole community.
Yeah, what a way to take a childhood story and bring it
Yes.
into your adulthood.
Mhm.
So no, that's fantastic. When I heard that story, I have to admit I giggled pretty good on
Oh,
that one. So,
fun, fun.
well, Lisa, there's one other thing that I want to discuss with you because there's something that you do that not everybody does, and it's pretty unique. When I say it's unique, it's not an easy thing to do, and that is lobbying.
Mhm.
You've been, I think, both to the state as well as to Washington D.C. to kind of lobby for your industry, if I'm
Yes.
not mistaken.
Yes.
And I go from Joel Barker. He's a futurist and writer, and he says, "Vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision just passes the time.
Mm.
But vision with action can change the world." And I kind of look at lobbying that way because, again, nobody loves to do this. It's
Yeah.
not a fun thing to do. I do it for the community banking industry,
Mhm.
but I want.
Congratulations on your new role too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I
Wonderful.
appreciate that.
Awesome.
But I just wanted to ask you kind of about that experience and why you think that's important, why you would be willing to lobby
Mhm. Mhm.
for the industry.
So I will tell you that definitely felt out of my wheelhouse because I'm not uber political. I'm not familiar with, every candidate and every congressperson, all of that. But I'll tell you, once I made it to the board for the Ohio Association and then the National Association in those committees, I realized we had been working in an industry, running a dealership for 38 years and letting everyone else speak on our behalf
Mhm.
and do that hard work for us. And we were reaping the benefits of that and also suffering some consequences for
I
letting
bet.
so many other people speak for us and represent us. And so when I was asked to go, I did go, besides this, to different Ohio ones, but to Washington. And I really felt like as I am going to start to transition out, and as my brother-in-law, who he's been there, almost 30 years as well, as we move into another chapter, we're setting North Main Motors up for success or failure by what we leave behind. And I definitely feel like as I would go and speak on behalf of the auto industry
Mhm.
and a lot of the other dealers, we needed to set the stage for the future of the company, and also maybe kind of break down some of those barriers and molds, like we said, um, of what car dealers do and how they really treat people. I literally was in with the half of us went to the CFPB and half met with the FTC, and so I sat in some meetings and talks with people at the FTC that are making rules and making laws and suing people.
Mhm.
um, and three of the members in that room, three of I think five, have never purchased a vehicle. Have never. They're in cities that they don't drive vehicles. They are young enough that their parents have still given them vehicles, but they're making rules and laws on automobile transactions and how dealers are mistreating the customers and taking advantage. And we needed to virtually re-educate and let them see what is the real face of a car dealer. And I think that's been very important to me, even as I learned there the different things that a few of the things I didn't know there.
Absolutely.
But I did learn that we need to speak up for the good guys. We need to speak up for the people and kind of just break those molds.
No, I that couldn't have been more what better said again. And I would encourage anybody, to consider lobbying for your industry, whatever that may
Mm.
be, because yeah, these rules are being made, and many times banking was no different. You could have told that exact same story and been like, the people making the rules a lot of times don't actually do the things they're making rules about.
Absolutely.
They don't have any idea on loans or they don't have any idea in deposit accounts
Mm.
how that actually works. And so they're being asked to do a job though, and the only way they can do it is if they're given input by the people
Yes.
that are actually on the ground doing it.
Hmm.
So, if we don't lobby, if we don't get out there and tell our story, then I don't know how you can expect them to just magically understand what's going on.
Right. They're only hearing the negative.
Correct.
They're hearing those bad things and they need to protect people
Yeah.
from that. I say protect people, but protect them from the bad players.
Yep.
and most people are not bad players.
Yes, we all learned in grade school, right? When one person in the class got in trouble and all of us stood against the fence, you kind of feel like that in your industry, right? There's a couple of bad players and everybody gets these rules against them that causes a lot of difficulty and pain from a business perspective.
And to the very people that we're trying to protect.
Yep.
If we put in so many things, it takes away our ability to serve the customers the way that they need served.
No, well, Lisa, again, I that's perfectly said. Well, I want to give you a last chance here. This is kind of what I'm calling the scoreboard that says, is there anything that you'd like to share that's going on in either organization that you just want to kind of share and let the listeners know?
Oh, I feel like there's so much going on. I would say this kind of a shout out to our team. So in 2024, North Bay Motors, our team won the Quality Dealer of the Year award for Ohio.
Congratulations.
So I just want to, everyone doesn't get, the kudos, I feel, but they're right in there pushing. And I just happen to be the person that can go represent everyone. So I want always to know that the team is doing that. So I'm so proud of them. Ida's Italian Ice is getting ready to relocate. We are moving from our current 5 Points location to the business suites at Scott Farms.
Right up there in front.
Yes, we are in. There's a big white building. They're relocating, moving a chiropractor out, have built them a new facility, and we're going to take over about half or a little more than a third of that. We've already put in an awesome patio. My brother put in a great patio for us. We'll have indoor seating again, which since
nice.
COVID, we pulled that out, and I think that will be a great addition again for all of our customers.
Well, now I'm excited because you're on my side of town,
Yes.
so I can get there a lot easier.
That's what we're thinking. We're close to county home fields. We're close to the subdivisions. And as much as we'll miss that because it's been part of our family.
Of course.
That location has been, boy, I had some big tears last week as we were turning those lights off. That's hard. But, if you're not growing, you're dying. So I definitely think God opened this door for us, and we're going to make the most of it and excited about it.
Well, congratulations. And just congratulations on both North Main as well as Ida's and just the success that you've had as a leader. And I think you've given us some things today to think about just as business owners. Again, sometimes it is flying by the seat of your pants, right? You don't know as you're going into it, but you're making the right decisions, talking to others maybe that have been there, and just kind of following a passion. And that's an incredible story. But I also put that lobbying part out there and say, to kind of own the industry and get out there and talk about it and promote it and make sure that they put a face to the industry is also huge. So just thank you today, Lisa, for sharing and no, I wish you nothing but success in the future. So, but I just want to thank everybody else for joining us on Bank Shot, where we bounce ideas off area leaders to inspire vision and values. If today's conversation gave you something to bank on, share it with a friend, a colleague, or your team. Together, we can keep investing in leadership that builds stronger businesses and thriving communities. Until next time, keep taking your best shot.